Hi, this is Gabby Turner. Welcome to Astro Hi-Fi. And in this series, I am talking about what you are going to experience when your progressed ascendant changes signs. In this particular video, we're going to be talking about the progressed ascendant moving from the sign of Taurus into the sign of Gemini. So first I'll say, anytime your progressed ascendant is changing signs, you can expect a couple of things to happen. Your external world, your external reality will be changing in some sort of way that creates a need for you to approach life differently, because your ascendant is about, how do I face life? And depending on your circumstances, you're going to be needing to face and approach life differently in order to get the best possible results. So your internal compass is shifting because your external circumstances are changing. But of course, it can also be driven internally as well. There is probably going to be a little bit of both happening, where there could be something within you that's just like a little spark within that's saying, you know what, I want something different out of life. And if I want something different out of life, if I want my life to be different, I'm going to have to approach life differently. So both of those things can be going on. So what is going to change exactly in your external and or internal, circumstances or approach to life when the progressed ascendant moves from Taurus into Gemini? So if this progression is happening for you, you might be a Taurus rising in your natal chart, or depending on how old you are, you could be an Aries rising, a Pisces rising, and if you are one of our supreme elders, maybe even an Aquarius rising, right? If so, kudos to you for hanging in there, because life is a mother flipping bitch. It is. Life is tough, and you have held in there. But, so in any case, regardless of what your natal ascendant is, you have been having a progressed ascendant in Taurus, because it has to progress all the way to the end of Taurus before it's going to move into Gemini. And so you're moving from a time in your life when you wanted to be comfortable and cozy and unbothered and just like, I'm wearing my scarf right now. I'm like really feeling the the Taurus energy at the moment of, just let me be like comfortable and peaceful. You're going to be avoiding debates. You don't want to get drawn into a debate. You don't want to get into a fight. Like if push comes to shove, when your progressed ascendant was in Taurus, if like someone just wouldn't leave you alone, then eventually, like the bull, which is the totem animal for the sign of Taurus, that bull energy is eventually going to, kick in, and you will respond, and you will let it be known, like, you better back off. But bulls don't really like to stay in prolonged distemper. They want to get back to a place of peacefulness. They want to graze in the field. So that's mostly what you were about when your progressed ascendant was in Taurus. Let me just do me. I want to be peaceful and serene and cozy. Like Taurus is a hard-working sign. So when your progressed ascendant was in Taurus, you're probably like, approaching the material world in such a way like, well, I want to be comfortable and cozy, and this is what I need to do to make that happen. I want to have this wonderful pot roast meal, so I'm going to go and gather the ingredients and like do the preparation. Like I have to do the work in order to get the reward that's going to satisfy my five senses, and Taurus loves to be in enjoyment of their five senses. But when you're moving into the sign of Gemini, one of the things that's changing the most is that life is going to get a little bit more exciting. So I mentioned debates and discussions before. Like people are going to want to talk to you more. So there could be something happening in your life that's just very notable, or you're seen as someone who has a lot of knowledge on something, so they want to ask you questions. Like maybe you've got journalists beating down your door all of a sudden when your progressed ascendant moves into Gemini. But it's like people want to know what your answers are to certain questions. And also, you have something that you feel like you have to say. You know, there's something that needs to be communicated. Gemini is a sign that's all about the mind, the mental faculties. It's about learning. It's about, you know, the dissemination of information. Gemini is also about who are the people in your neighborhood. You know, like I've seen so many online forums with people with a lot of Taurus energy in their chart, whether it's the ascendant or other placements. And Tauruses are kind of homebodies, you know, like they don't necessarily like to be social butterflies. It's not that they don't like people, but they, you know, it's easier to get into your own comfy, cozy place if you can just be in your own energy and focus on your preferences. You know, like if you're in a whole group of people, everyone in that room is going to have different preferences for what temperature they want it to be and what they want the decor to look like and whatever. And, you know, Taurus wants to satisfy, especially with the ascendant here, because the ascendant is the me first, you know, point in the chart. So when your progressed ascendant is moving into Gemini, suddenly your priorities shift. And comfortable, cozy, you know, if your natal ascendant is in Taurus, that's always going to be your natal ascendant. So that's always going to be important to you. But you're still going to be seeing your external and internal compass shift where you're like, you know what? I need to be among the people. I need to be more among the people. I need to be having conversations. There are things that I just need to talk about. There are things that I want to learn. I want to learn more. I need to take in more insights. And I know that I don't have all the answers. So I need to be seeking out the answers from other people. I need to be engaging in dialogue. I need to be engaging in conversations. And of course, there are many ways to have conversations. Talking is one of them, you know, like listening, watching a video like this is a way of engaging in a discussion, leaving a comment online, being involved in forums online or in person, you know, and Gemini is a sign that likes to keep up to date with things as well, which is very different from the Taurus energy that you're moving out of. You know, Taurus likes for things to be kind of the same day to day, right? Because it's easier to get into the groove of comfy, cozy if you know what to expect on a daily basis. Gemini kind of thrives on change and, you know, wakes up in the morning, you know, wants to know what's the news, what's going on, you know, and even if it's not like what's going on with world events, with a progressed ascendant in Gemini, maybe you just want to know what's going on with my neighbors, my friends, my family members. Like you're interested in people and ideas and like what is happening, you know, what's the news. Gemini is the sign that is related to the media, especially, you know, like the media that's reporting on like current events, which change throughout the day, right? So you want to be in the know. It's a very mental, it's the first air sign, Gemini. I need to be abreast of information. You know, maybe when your progressed ascendant was Taurus, you lived out in the country and you had no access to the internet or something, and then something changed and now you're in the city and like you're in the hubbub of everyday activity and you can't avoid the, like, okay, things are just changing and like I need to know what's going on. I need to be in the mix. Or life is just putting you in the mix, whether you want to be or not, and so you have to adapt. Maybe you still would prefer to live out in the middle of nowhere and not know what's going on, but because of the circumstances of your life, in order to really forge your way, again, that's what the ascendant is all about. You need to know what's going on. Like you have to stay educated. So this definitely can be a time in people's lives when they do embark on a journey of education. And again, that could be, you know, formal education like going to school, or it could just be an informal education of like, I need to learn how to do X, Y, or Z. So I'm going to give an example of a famous person who had this progression and what seemed to be going on in their life that coincided with that. And that would be Miley Cyrus, who has her natal ascendant in late Taurus. She was born the same year that her dad had his big hit, Achy Breaky Heart. So he went from being in like extreme poverty to being like a multimillionaire the same year that she was born. She was born in Taurus, you know, ascendant in Taurus. So I'm assuming, you know, the first couple of years were like comfortable. She had her needs met. If she wanted a particular dress, she probably got that dress. If she wanted a particular type of food, she probably got that food. Her needs were mostly met, right? And 2 years in, when she's 2 years old, she starts showing up in interviews with her dad. Like, she's just barely able to speak as a toddler, and yet these reporters are so interested in what she has to say. So that is a great example of the progressed ascendant moving into the sign of Gemini, which is what happened to her when she was 2 years old. Like, it's like, why are people so fascinated with me? Like, why do people just want to know what I have to say? So there is also a factor here of the progressed ascendant in Gemini of you just being sort of charming in a way. You know, again, there's that sort of social butterfly dynamic of people just kind of want to gravitate around you, and you're interesting. You're a very interesting person. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily boring when your progressed ascendant was in Taurus, but you're much more exciting when your progressed ascendant moves into the sign of Gemini. So I think that's all that I have to say about that. I think that this progressed ascendant change is not as, you know, detrimental or soothing as other ones. It's just like life is more exciting, life is more interesting, there's more to talk about, there's more going on in the day-to-day. You know, everyone's life is going to be different. The reason for life becoming more exciting could be negative, or it could be positive. It could be a mixture of both, which is normally what life is made of. But let me know in the comments if you experienced this progression and what your circumstances were, or if you've observed other people going through this progression, or any other comments or questions you have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.